You would think that, like, man, going to the actual stage is going to be the worst part. That was the easy part. Here's some inside Vanity Fair stuff. I knew I was losing the year before the fight. And that is like breaking news here now. Oh, hello there. I'm John Cena. You may know me from such things as being John Cena. Today, the good folks at Vanity Fair have given me a pocket of time to reflect on the works of me trying my best to entertain you. Shall we start? Let's do that. This newfangled remote should start our journey. Let's go. So this is Wrestlemania 28 in Miami. John Cena versus Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Once in a lifetime, although we did it again the next year. This was a wonderful journey to get to this. Lots of live moments before this WrestleMania. In sports entertainment, sometimes we do toe the gray area between entertainment and realism. And I think that's a lot of the cachet that WWE and sports entertainment has. Everyone who shows up knows it's entertainment. But still, here we are in Miami with 80,000 plus people showing up for this live Shakespearean drama to unfold in front of their very eyes. What was special about this is a lot of the moments along the way cross the lines of, hey, I know this is sports entertainment, but man, those guys really hate each other. That brought us to a wonderful moment that we're seeing now. When I look back on WWE events, everyone looks at the ring. I always look beyond the ring. And right now, when you look beyond the ring, everyone is standing. The two of us had mixed opinions of each other going into this. And then when you get to this moment, to plan what really is happening. What are we really trying to sell? This stuff, because you're putting your life in somebody's hands. But this is the one thing that we couldn't wing it out there because it involves the physical well-being of others. When you get to this moment, after all this shit talking for a year, and you get two abrasive, strong-minded professionals in the same room, we do what's right for the business. That one moment between Dwayne and I and melding our personalities, that's when, at least from my perspective, I started to build a friendship with Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne had always been cordial to me and always helped me out, and I did something foolish and started to go into business for myself and drum up rumors about things I knew nothing about, which were great for this, but it's very much a professional faux pas. And then he finally shows up and he goes one way, I go another, we never talk, and what you see play out on screen is very genuine. And if we had only just talked about our shortcomings, if I'd only said I'm sorry, I think we would have skipped all that, but you would have missed out on great programming. A few days before this, we began to put this puzzle together. And I think that's when Dwayne finally realized that I'm not in it to take anyone's spot. I'm just trying to do good business. I went about it the wrong way. And this moment right here, when I don't know if The Rock is ever going to return, but he wins. And he wins the championship. And for a year, I went on television saying there's no effing way you can win. And we divided our locker room. Man, my best friends were extremely upset about what was going on. Like, this moment cut to the heart of a lot of people. And I think that's the magical dust in what WWE can provide, is the unpredictable. I've been a part of a lot of unpredictable moments in WWE. I hold this one very close to my heart because right after this, I specifically stay out there when you lose, you're supposed to get the hell out of there and let the winner have their moment. I wanted to stay out there and soak in the embarrassment that I had let the entire fan base down. That way it would help further my storyline. But after the show is over, the very first thing I do is apologize to Dwayne's mother, because she was the first person I saw. And I apologized and said, I hope you understand I was just trying to do what was best for tonight. She, having the experience and wisdom, of course, she was extremely gracious and a class act like she always is. But it was important for me to get that weight off my backpack, and then went right into Dwayne's locker room. and apologized to him. And that was the first moment of me being like, man, this was great. If we had worked together, I don't know how great it could have been. Like, it could have been so much better. He was empathetic. He was gracious. I think he was riding high off of the moment because everybody loved it. You know, you put all this equity into putting your heart out there. And if they don't get it, well, now your heart's out there and that's the best you got, and they're not into it. They were into this. That's always kind of the healing power between two people in a WWE feud, is when the audience is entertained. It kind of helps patch up whatever bad blood there is. This one match was important for me personally, to build a friendship with Dwayne. I think it was a great example for present and future superstars on, you are not supposed to hijack creative just because you're not the main person. You would think that, like, man, going to the actual stage is going to be the worst part. That was the easy part. I knew I was losing the year before the fight. All of those promos you see, all those speeches, every single one of them, I knew that I was going to finish second place. So amazingly enough, getting to the stage was like a catharsis of like, finally, we can do this. It didn't affect my trajectory. As a matter of fact, it fueled me more to try to do better work.
She looks little,
Amy,
but she's not.
What's up?
is that wine in the box?
Not all
I've read too.
You've read too.
Yeah.
Is this guy ever going to shut up?
Please watch the movie.
Stop. No, that's not right. Man, when I see this, I'm like, gosh, I was really a larger person a few years ago. I think when I filmed this, I was like 255 pounds. And when I see that initially, I'm like, whoa, man, that's a small polo shirt. Judd Apatow and Amy Schumer both took a chance on me that they didn't have to. And a scene like this was not written in the script. The original script of Amy's life was based on an experience that she had where she got like worn out during sex with this really in-shape dude. And the funny bit was like, sex is too athletic. I'm over this. And then we get in a room and start reading through the lines, and then Judd, being Judd and being as good as he is like, forget the script, just kind of riff. And Amy and I just riffed, and we all know she's so incredibly talented. Neither one of us backed down, and this opportunity found me at the right point in my life where I'm more comfortable with who I am, both my strengths and my weaknesses. Listen, you always do this to me. You show up to these places, you put me in a situation. I'm a big guy. Everybody wants to fight the big guy.
Yeah, you are.
Hey, Mark Wahlberg, shut your bitch up.
Mark Wahlberg? So this is a scene that wasn't supposed to be in the movie. The ad-lib fight was completely all just improvisational. I'm in the room with a lot of professional comedians, and I'm not one. But I didn't have any fear that I would say something unfunny. Amy Schumer and Judd Apatow laid the groundwork for that. They're like, if we're only gonna air the funny ones, say whatever the fuck you want. And that allowed me to sit down amongst comedians and not be afraid. This was the first performing environment outside the WWE in where I felt that comfort.
Me? Who else looks like Mark Wahlberg? Your girl?
Mark Wahlberg's like 150 pounds. I'm 250 lean. I look like Mark Wahlberg ate Mark Wahlberg.
And keep in mind, before this, I had to be naked. Like, there is not a more embarrassing moment than having your dick swinging in the wind, you know, trying to have what I was told to, like, have the most awkward sex you possibly can. They gave me a ton of backstory as to maybe he's a little confused and maybe he wants a white picket fence, but maybe he also wants the bathhouse life. Take it whatever way you want. And again, the foundation of them being able to just be like, man, we're only going to show the funny one. Go for it. Like, this is a safe space. Allowed me to sit with professionals and have fun. I'm forever grateful to Judd and Amy for that.
You killed my brother. You killed Keith.
So here we are as the resurrected character Peacemaker, who will do anything for peace. And right now he is engaged in a slugfest with the White Dragon. James Gunn is one hell of a storyteller. I think he's one of the most prepared directors I've ever worked with. I think that's because he writes from the ground up. Man, this was an extremely powerful moment, and I think the power of this moment, first of all, being able to act with Robert Patrick again, who was my first foil, the first movie I ever did, The Marine, that was sweet. And now here we are again in such an emotional scene. There's so much that comes out here. The conversations Peacemaker was never able to have with his dad. The fact that the people Peacemaker calls friends don't necessarily know how to react to what's going on. The chaos that happens right before this moment. And all of the emotions that Christopher Smith just blurts out in this moment of violence where that's all he knows. That's all he knows how to bridge the gap in any conflict. So he's doing what he knows, but also becoming this changed man. This is such a point of growth. Christopher Smith is a human. He's not necessarily a mutant superhero. He's a human who's got gadgets and is very trained in the ways of fighting. So I think it allows me to interpret the script in a way like, oh, what would a human being do? And what would I do in this situation? We're all human. We've all had these emotions in our life. We've all been excited, happy, sad, disappointed, frustrated, angry. The most profound thing I found about the Chris Smith character is creating a defined character early on with a certain set of characteristics, and committing to that allows for a wonderful arc. The James Gunn quote that I always use, a douchey, broy Captain America. Start there. Be that guy, and then begin to work forward on anything else.
Otto, sending you new pickup location.
So this is a dream come true. I get to be a Toretto. The long-lost brother of Dom Toretto, Jacob Toretto, and in typical Fast and Furious fashion, the meeting between us is me getting form tackled in a fifth-story tailor shop in Edinburgh, Scotland. What a dream come true here to be able to fight Dom Toretto in a Fast and Furious franchise. What I love about this scene, what I love about this movie in particular, is I'm a fan. You're like the new guy in a family of people who have worked together for 2 decades. So to be able to come in as a newbie and put on the Toretto cross, that was very special. I loved working with this cast. Everybody was fantastic. A sequence like this is very different than WWE. The footage from Dwayne Johnson, that was about a 25-minute performance. This is shot over 3 days. We lean heavily on our second unit and stunt teams to come up with the coolest stuff, but it takes a while to get tackled through a wall and have half the wall come by. It takes a while to get from a guy on a gimbal to come through and tackle you through the window. Heck, it's a different shot just to do the rifle, to set up the zip line. You just have to embrace the patience, and then that was the toughest thing for me to overcome, because I'm used to like, your music's hitting, you'll be done in 25 minutes. No problem, I got this. Big action like this is actually what kind of soured me on the movie business early on in my career. When I went down to film The Marine in 2004 or 5, gosh, I'd just gotten a fiery start in the WWE. I'm world champion, I'm going to a different town every night, 320 days a year. Audiences just going nuts. And then I fly all the way out to Australia to library silence to shoot 1 explosion a day. Like, I hated it. And I hated it because I just wasn't ready for it. I didn't appreciate the patience of it. When I reflect back on my career, that's like, I didn't appreciate those opportunities. And by the way, I did a lot of shitty movies, and that's why I didn't do movies for a while. I should have got run out of town. I didn't appreciate it. I wanted to be elsewhere. And I was doing movies as a vehicle to sell more tickets for wrestling. That's okay, but I wasn't putting my heart where it needed to be, and that was in the character on the set and appreciating everybody's role in the process. What a great full circle moment Fast 9 is. I come on as a new person into a veteran locker room, and my role is big action. So I gotta be patient. This is a moment to put a smile on my face, not only because I got invited into the family, but because I enjoyed the process. I wasn't being like, what's taking so long? And man, all this time to put these lights and this effect, I'll just fall down, I'll just do it. But then you realize like, okay, do it again. Okay, do it again. And the 60th time you're going through a wall, That's why it's patient. So maybe you get it right the first time. This is a wonderful full circle moment for me. You guys chose good clips.
Something's weird today.
Hi, Barbie.
Oh, okay. Hi, Ken.
Have a brewski beer. My big guy is thirsty.
Anyway,
This is the second time I was able to act with my acting bestie, Dua Lipa. I hope she's doing well. I know she's watching this. How you doing? This is a mistake. I had met a person at dinner who I was having an intimate moment with my wife with, and that involved me communicating with them, but not in my normal tact. And I was like, man, I want to do something nice for them. I'm going to pay for their dinner. It was a table that Margot Robbie was hosting, and I didn't even know it. And of course, I was fortunate enough to work with Margot on Suicide Squad. She is the absolute best. I literally, an aspirational work ethic, as well as like aspirational professional talent. It's the best, period. She just runs over, she's like, oh, thank you so much. I didn't even know you were here. I'm doing Barbie. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing Fast. We are literally like across the street from each other. She's like, you should come over and do Barbie. I'm like, I tried. You guys wouldn't have me. Listen, I'll do anything. The people she turns to are the people who are making the movie. She's like, do we have anything? I'm like, yeah, it's going to be small. I said, I'll do anything. It's not I'll do anything, but it has to be the lead. I believe in your project. I think it's going to be cool. If I can help you in any way, I would love to. And then they're like, okay, but the small thing is you're going to be a super tan merman in a wig, and you got to sing to Dua Lipa. Okay, I'll do it. The serendipitous moment of life just laying opportunity in your lap. I call it putting a door in front of a window. So many times we can put a door in front of a window. I shouldn't do this because, well, the schedules will never work. That's bullshit. Let's talk it out first. It goes against how people see me. Who cares? What's the worst that can happen? I like to think about what can go right, and I like to think about how can we get it done. And this was an instance where a lot of folks were like, I don't know if that's a good look, but it's something I wanted to do. And I think in those moments, I trust and rely and love on the people around me. But I always listen to my instinct as well. And gosh, I wanted to be a part of it. Thank you, Margot. Thanks for everybody. It's just not Margot's fault. There's so many people who are involved in making the schedule work. Thank you, Fast, for allowing me to walk across the street and put on the merman tail. That was awesome as well. But also Greta and Barbie, they were surgical. We did all this in like 2 hours. And they got me out and got me on, and I worked the rest of the day on Fast. I mean, it was great. Ask yourself what can go right instead of what can go wrong sometimes.
We're not okay. All right, if we fall into the wrong hands, best case scenario, they use us as a political football. Worst case scenario is they make an example of us. Now put that down.
You know what happened to the last guy who threw a shoe at a sitting president?
This is a scene between Idris and I where I try to always never be the smartest guy in the room. This character is the smartest guy in the room. He's had success and fluency in one lane, and he thinks that success, wisdom, and fluency carries over in all lanes. Again, like, oh, where did you have to dig from this? You don't. Like, step on set every day and be like, I'm the smartest guy in the room. And do it with a swagger and confidence that's not cocky and not condescending and wanting to bring people together. But like, I know how this works out, bud. Don't worry about it. All right, great. Kudos to you. Watch the pro go to work. And Idris is so wonderful at being matter-of-fact, concise. His approach as a diplomat and as former MI6 is such a good yin and yang and makes for such a great buddy moment where like here, he's climbing up a tree to save me and then at a safe distance telling me I'm fucking stupid. And it works. And then I get so frustrated, I eventually, when the scene plays out, I shoo him away. And of course, he comes back to help me. So now I'm a person who's accomplished a lot in my life, and it's a scene where I have to ask for help and mean it. And I think those are important scenes, especially to knock the guy who thinks he's the smartest guy in the room down a peg. It's also a beginning of the camaraderie and friendship that this unlikely duo will share, because you know, Idris has fun taking the piss out of me by dropping me on one and then watching me fall. And now he's got one up on me that he can always go back to. It's a really cool moment. And of course, It's just a gag. Like the gag is one guy caught in the parachute, the other guy can save him. Watch the dude fall. Ha ha. Roll on snare, everybody laugh. But I think when you get two performers, especially somebody as skilled as Idris together, and I get to let him shine, man, he gives you so much. He'll like tee you up with stuff. The movie Heads of State was a byproduct of our first run-in with the Suicide Squad. And I think Peter Safran, one of the producers on this, was like, we need to see you guys together doing the same thing. I have an idea. And Heads of State was born.
But Letterman, what are you doing here? Preparing for your execution?
You don't think I have a chance?
Get real, Jimmy. Sinclair's extremely pissed off, and he's gonna make an example out of you.
This is fantastic, and that's me in the background with the blonde flat top. This is a movie called Ready to Rumble, filmed about wrestling, and I'm out in California at this point, because I can tell by my haircut, trying to make it as a wrestler. I had started training. I was hitting way above my weight class because I was humbled very quickly and being like, I don't belong here. I was large in West Newbury, Massachusetts, but here in Southern California, where everybody comes to make a career out of this, I can no longer do this. I had the same revelation when I played college football. Like, I'm not ever going pro. I started training to wrestle, and now I'm cast in a movie with wrestlers. I love this moment, and I look back on this fondly because I'm an extra. And it has laid the groundwork for me that I'm not saying I don't have my frustrating days, I do, but I'm always respectful of, I say the word extra because that's what they called me then. These are background players. Film a movie without this. Take all the background players out and just put the lead actors there. It is not the same movie. This goes back to my philosophy of no one does it alone. And every job is equally as important as the next because we can't survive without all you guys. I love the fact that I was able to do this. This day sucked. It was long. If you play the clip, I'm just doing pec flies. So I'm basically doing an 8-hour chest workout. And I'm not even on camera. You know, like I'm in the back, but I'm trying my best. And 8 hours later, I go home, my upper body is just on fire. It was a lesson again in the way movies are made. I think I might like wrestling a little more than the movies at that point in my life. I'm finally getting to walk away. At that point, I was probably exhausted, but I got to do it. I try to lead with empathy. And boy, being able to do something like this, if you see a background player that's tired, I know what that feels like. So you can go up to him and let him know how much left we got in the day, or like, hey, we're moving on from this scene. Because like I said, film it without him. It just don't look the same. I'm so grateful that you found this. It's awesome to see again. I don't look back on this with any shame. I don't mind watching it. It's one of those like, yo, I started in the mailroom type moments. I think it's really cool. And that's my time, folks. See you later.